Life by Latti presents Wakanda Not Forever, a two-part audio series. Part 1. Just because something works doesn't mean it can't be improved. Shuri, Black Panther. And just because a man texts you every day and listens when you vent doesn't mean he's fit to be your man. Welcome to Wakanda Not Forever, the true story of how I ended up in a 2-month talking stage with an African man that really should have ended after 5 minutes in the park. On social media, when it comes to relationships, we always see the highlight reels, the what to do's, what not to do's, and how to avoid certain situations from happening. But what if the smallest, pettiest, most unexpected situations ended up teaching you the biggest lessons? I'm a self proclaimed baddie. I've been in some of the best connections, I've been in some of the worst connections. And what I learned is sometimes I'll get it right, but sometimes I'll get it all the way the fuck wrong. And that's okay because it's not about the connection that changes you, it's the lesson. And I'm always grateful for that. Here's the story of the long overdue talking stage with a man named Kato. I met Kato online when I matched with him through Facebook dating. There was nothing particular that stood out about his profile. He looked presentable, came to America from Uganda 2 years ago, had pics in his cap and gown from graduating from college that year, and was into IT. When we started talking, it was business as usual. The typical questions: where are you from? What do you do? Any hobbies, etc. He was nice to talk to. He didn't push for sex or overly objectify me like most men, so I kept replying and the conversation kept going. At the time, my Facebook page was glitched for some reason. I had no idea why, but I couldn't log into my Facebook page on the Facebook app without it shutting down within seconds. Maybe it was his ancestors aligning us to connect deeper. But for only that reason, I quickly asked him if he wanted to text instead of talking through Facebook. He, of course, agreed. Who could say no to this face? And that's how we started texting. Talking to Kato was very bland. Not terrible, but definitely not soul stirring or super engaging. Him being from Africa and having cultural differences really drew a wedge between how we connected, but yet it was what we spoke about most often. We discussed a lot about the dishes he missed in Africa, how things were different for him here in America, and etc., etc. There were many, many times where I would just stop replying and forget we were even talking. The conversation was that boring. But he became someone I got used to talking to daily. For us to have met on Facebook dating, he didn't speak to me much about actual dating or relationships. We spoke to each other like friends. Eventually, he did ask me to hang out. I really wanted to go to this pasta place in the city, Pasta de Pasta, and he agreed to go with me. But I felt in my gut that I wasn't really feeling him and I really didn't want to go, at least not with him. Subconsciously, I kept putting off the link up for quote unquote a better day. I didn't even notice I was doing it until he called me out about it. After talking to my online friend, he convinced me to meet up with Kato and just give him a chance. So I eventually caved in and made time to meet him. We were supposed to go to Pasta, but I canceled last minute. I didn't want to be stuck in a tiny pasta parlor with a bunch of hippies and white people. I had to go to downtown Brooklyn to pick up something, so I told him to just meet me there. The plan was that we can chill in the park area nearby where I would be and grab a bite to eat. He agreed, and those were the plans. The day of the link up, he was over 30 minutes late getting there. I was starving and decided to just get lunch before he got there and he could get something to eat if he wanted. My favorite salad place was in the area, and I never had a chance to go dine in person. I texted him while he was still on his way and asked if we could eat there. He claimed that he needed more than a salad because he was so hungry. I decided to be accommodating and agreed that we can get something else. After waiting for him for so long, I just opted for a chicken over rice from the halal cart nearby. It was disgusting, a waste of $9. I was so mad. This link was already starting off crazy. Finally, he arrived, and I wasn't sold on his look in person. He wasn't catfish, He looked like how he looked in his pics, but he was shorter than I thought he would be. There was also something about the way that he walked that immediately threw me off. Attraction is weird like that. Sometimes your body makes a decision before your mind does. I didn't want to be rude, so I still smiled as he walked to me and gave him a hug. I was in the middle of eating when he got there, and he told me he would be right back and get some food from the cart himself. Can you believe he came back with 2 hot dogs? You made me pass up on a perfect chicken Caesar salad for 2 hot dogs? I was fuming as I tried to swallow my dry and unseasoned chicken over rice. Once we were done eating, we sat and talked for a while. Chemistry was at a good 2 out of 10 for me. It wasn't a complete zero because we were able to sit and talk for an hour and a half, but there was no attraction flowing through us. Maybe for him there was, but for me, it just wasn't there. We spoke about the same stuff we text about: his life in America, his life in Africa, boring shit. Even his dating stories while being here in America was dry as fuck. It felt like I was catching up with an old classmate or something, not talking to someone I potentially wanted to date. But I appreciated the company and conversation. The link up was coming to an end when I started to gather my stuff and get ready to leave. But I was having such a good time being outside and enjoying the perfect weather that day, I decided to soak up the sun for an extra 5 minutes before hitting Starbucks and making my way home. Cato and I were sitting by a pretty high traffic pedestrian area where many people were walking back and forth past us. In my peripheral vision, I saw a tall man in a black trench coat come walking towards us from the left of me. It threw me off for a bit because he walked very close to the bench. When he completely walked by, I let my nerves rest a bit because I thought I was just overreacting. But then, as if on cue, he turned around and made his way back to the bench and stood directly in front of me. Immediately, I'm on go. I don't trust no one towering over me while I'm sitting down. The guy started talking, complimenting me, but it didn't really feel like a compliment if you catch my drift. It's the way someone builds you up before smashing your confidence down. Trust me, I've had it happen to me so many times over my life, I knew where the conversation was going. You're a beautiful girl, but your weight is going to kill you. You're so pretty. Now, only if you were skinnier. I didn't want to hear it. And I certainly didn't appreciate anyone stopping my conversation to rudely cut me off to say anything to me. He kept talking while I kept trying to shut him down. Short replies, quick thank yous, rushing him along. But from the corner of my eye, I'm looking at Cato thinking, surely he's going to do something. This random man, who obviously I do not know, is literally bothering me, and you're sitting 2 inches away from me. But quite the opposite occurred. Cato just shut down, frozen. No eye contact, no standing up, no, you good? Nothing. And right there, I knew this connection wasn't going anywhere safe. The guy finally walked off without getting the chance to say anything insulting. I was relieved, yet also pretty disappointed. Cato did nothing. When the guy walked off, he didn't even ask me if I was okay. Just commented on how weird that was and how he didn't know what the guy was going to do. Yeah, he could never be a man of mine. That was decided very quickly in my head. I haven't been in the most perfect relationships in the past, but I could choose any one of my ex partners, and not one of them would have let that fly. Could it be a cultural difference? Maybe. And who knows? Maybe there are other women who would be okay with a man sitting by them, shrinking into a silent mouse while a tall, strange man is hovering over them asking questions. But it ain't gonna be me. Quickly, I took that as my cue to go. I got my stuff and got the hell out of there. After talking about the situation privately with my online friends, I quickly knew that me and Kato was going nowhere fast, and I needed to cut him off after that first link. But I did quite the opposite. We ended up meeting again the following week where he took me out to lunch to the restaurant of my choosing. If you're wondering why I kept in contact with him, the answer is simple. I was lonely. Really, really fucking lonely. This year has by far been the most empty year of my life. I had a friend group that completely snaked me out behind my back. Listen to my audio, exit the group chat for that story. Finale dropping soon. Someone I thought who was my best friend that I've known for years did me dirty too. My once full social life completely stopped after April this year. I wasn't hanging out in person. I haven't been invited to any social gatherings. Honestly, sitting out on that bench with Kato was the first thing closest to a date I've had this year. After my sexual assault in January and ending my sorta kinda entanglement in February, my dating life came to an end as well. So yeah, I craved the in person meetups. Even the texting was cool. We never talked about anything important or interesting, but just having someone to text when I needed to felt great. And Cato was never too busy for me. He always texts me when I text, even if I didn't text him back for the whole day. If I wanted to go out, he never said no. I wanted him to take pics of me for my birthday, and it was a definitely. Just say when and where. I wasn't using him or trying to be malicious, but I honestly thought that even though I wasn't interested in him in that way, we could be friends and hang out sometimes. The second link up, I guess you can call a date. We went to this Dominican restaurant uptown that supposedly had the best rotisserie chicken in NYC. I beg to differ. That day, everything just went wrong. Getting uptown took me literally 2 hours. I only had 1 hour exactly to hang before I had to rush back home, which took another 2 hours. That day was just not aligned for us to meet, but we did anyway. The food was good, conversation was bland as always. It's what I came to expect from Cato. Just someone to sit across and converse with. Nothing more, nothing less. Shortly after that lunch date, though, the loneliness and depression started to catch up with me, and I fell into a deep depressive state and wanted to pull back a bit from social media and just communication with everyone. I let Cato know because we were still texting daily at that time. He told me he understood and would check in on me periodically. But to him, periodically must have meant the next day. I didn't want to ignore him, so I replied back. And slowly, he eased back into texting me daily. I tried to pull back again, and he did the same. I ignored it though. In my head, I thought maybe he was lonely too and just wanted to talk. But I did appreciate him keeping me company during my quiet days. Soon, though, my birthday was coming up, and of course, I didn't have any real life friends to spend it with. But Cato just happened to send me an African restaurant suggestion that week of a place he wanted to go to. I told him, "You're taking me there for my birthday." There was no pushback, just light agreements. He told me my birthday fell on a day he worked, but we would plan something. My birthday came and went, and he did not plan anything with me, which I didn't mind because, again, I wasn't his girlfriend. We weren't really dating, so whatever. But that week before my birthday, I made an Instagram story letting all men that was talking to me in any capacity know that if you ain't do shit for me for my birthday, you was getting cut off. I was tired of men draining my energy and life force like a leech. I know Kato saw my video because I saw that he viewed the story on Instagram. I tried to let him know again that I was going to take another social media break, hoping he got the hint. Similar to the previous time, he told me he understood, and then the next day, out of nowhere, he tells me he has a birthday gift for me. It was so random and out the blue, I couldn't help but be suspicious. I told him, "Wow, I didn't know you was getting anything for me." And he told me, "Yeah, I couldn't take you to the restaurant because of my work schedule, so I got you a gift instead." Off rip, I told myself his excuse was big cap. If he worked on my birthday, he could have simply planned for a day where he wasn't working. It's not like we had to go on my birthday. Just like he bought me a gift and didn't gift it to me in time for my birthday. Another worry that popped into my head was the fact that he had no idea of the things I liked. I rarely posted about things on my Instagram where he was following me on, and he never asked about the things I would like as a gift. And then with the quick turnaround time of popping up with a gift all of a sudden, the day after my birthday, it was all pointing to him buying me something cheap. And baby, it's not about the price of the gift, but the thought and intention. But even with the way things were lining up, the thought and intention wasn't there. This was giving very much last minute card and teddy bear from CVS. And then another red flag was him rushing to give it to me in person all of a sudden. And from that, I was able to put the pieces together. This was all an excuse to bypass me wanting to take time from talking to him and force a meetup in person. And this is where the whole situation went from maybe we could be friends to bitch, get the fuck out of there. But we'll get to that soon. Part two coming.